The rain fell hard on the worn-out streets of Virginia Beach that night, washing away footprints that led nowhere. Jack Morrison stood under the flickering streetlight outside the small diner, his jacket soaked, his hands rough and cracked from long hours at the shipyard. To anyone passing by, he looked like any other tired man waiting for the storm to pass, but Jack had seen storms far worse. He was a veteran, a single father, and a man who'd learned that battles don't always end on foreign soil. Sometimes, they follow you home. He took a deep breath, trying to steady himself before stepping inside the diner where his teenage daughter, Lily, worked part-time. She was everything he lived for, the reason he got up each morning, no matter how hard the day hit. As he opened the door, the bell chimed softly, and a warm light greeted him. But what caught his eye wasn't the smell of coffee or the sight of Lily cleaning tables, it was her, sitting by the window, laughing with 5 children around her, was his ex-wife, Claire. Jack froze. His heart felt like someone had gripped it tight. He hadn't seen Claire in nearly 10 years, not since she left him when his military career crumbled after a back injury during deployment. Back then, she'd said she couldn't handle the struggle, couldn't bear the silence of a man haunted by war. He never blamed her out loud, but in the quiet moments, the hurt never faded, and now, here she was older, confident, wearing an air of authority that didn't fit the woman he used to know. The kids around her, all smiling and talking, looked happy, as if they'd known no pain. He wanted to walk away, to avoid reopening old wounds, but his heart wouldn't let him. "Dad?" Lily's voice broke through his trance. "You okay?" He nodded quickly, forcing a smile. "Yeah, sweetheart. Just surprised to see someone." When Lily followed his gaze, her eyes widened. "That's Mom?" Jack just nodded. The memories came rushing back, their wedding under the oak tree, their late-night talks before his deployments, her tearful goodbyes. He thought he'd buried it all. But seeing her again made the past feel like yesterday. After a moment of hesitation, Claire noticed him. Her expression froze, and the color drained from her face. Slowly, she stood up, excusing herself from the table and walking toward him. "Jack," she said softly. "Claire." It was a simple exchange, but years of silence filled the space between their words. They sat at a corner booth, the tension thick enough to cut through. "I didn't know you were still in town," she said, avoiding his eyes. "Didn't plan to be," he replied. "Just making ends meet." Claire nodded slowly, fidgeting with her cup. "I've been meaning to reach out. But I didn't think you'd want to see me." Jack let out a hollow laugh. "After 10 years? Yeah, maybe not the first thing I expected tonight." She looked down. "I deserve that." The conversation that followed wasn't easy. They talked about the years apart, how she'd remarried briefly, then lost her husband in a helicopter crash during a mission overseas. How she'd raised 5 children, 3 of her own and 2 she adopted from fallen soldiers' families. And how, through those years, she joined the Defense Department, rising through ranks until, just recently, she was appointed Deputy Defense Commander, one of the highest-ranking women in the nation's military command. Jack sat stunned. You're the Deputy Defense Commander?" She smiled faintly. "Life takes strange turns, doesn't it?" He nodded, swallowing hard. "Yeah. It does." The weight of her words sank deep. Here was the woman who once walked away because she couldn't handle the chaos of a soldier's life, and now she was leading soldiers herself. Fate had a cruel sense of irony, but beneath the pride in her eyes, Jack saw something else: guilt. "I never stopped caring about you, Jack," she said quietly. "You were broken back then, and I was too weak to help. But I learned. Every mission, every decision I make now, it's because I don't want to fail the people who fight like you did." Jack's throat tightened. For the first time in years, he saw the pain she'd carried too. "Claire," he said after a long pause, "I never hated you. I just missed us. Missed what we were before everything went wrong." She reached across the table, her fingers trembling. "Maybe we both needed to fall apart to understand what strength really means." They talked for hours, long after the diner closed. Lily eventually joined them, hesitant at first, but soon the 3 of them were sharing stories, laughing, crying, rebuilding pieces of a family long lost. In the following weeks, Claire visited often. She offered to help Jack with his VA paperwork, encouraged him to apply for a veteran leadership program, and helped Lily get a scholarship through the defense family's fund. For the first time in years, Jack felt hope, not because Claire had returned, but because he'd found purpose again. Months later, at a national ceremony honoring veterans, Claire stood at the podium in her crisp uniform adorned with medals. Cameras flashed as she began her speech. "There's a man in this crowd tonight who taught me what real courage looks like," she said, scanning the audience. "Not on the battlefield, but in everyday life. He's a single father, a veteran, and the reason I fight for those who come home and keep fighting silently." Jack's eyes welled up as the crowd turned toward him. Claire smiled through her tears. "This honor belongs as much to him as it does to me." When the anthem played and the applause thundered, Jack stood tall, shoulders back, eyes glistening with pride. For the first time in a long time, he didn't feel like a forgotten soldier. He felt seen. As the video faded to black, a message appeared: and never underestimate the quiet battles people fight. Real heroes don't seek recognition, they inspire it. Then the narrator's voice spoke softly: "If this story touched your heart, give it a like, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us of the power of love, resilience, and redemption." And somewhere in the background, between the tears, the applause, and the echoes of old wounds healed, the rain finally stopped.